Honorable members, we now have quorum to transact business. Honorable Majority Leader, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me take this opportunity first to thank the Leader of Minority for this motion of adjournment, which I fully support. Because, Honorable Speaker, you remember in the run-up to the impeachment of the former Deputy President, I quoted a good friend of mine who described somebody as having a very black heart. And I dare add today, this is not just a man with a black heart, but a very dark soul. And a dark soul, Honorable Speaker, to the extent that this man believes that the death of Kenyans, the bloodshed that this country witnessed in 2007, as unfortunate as it was, Honorable Speaker, that he can equate the death and bloodshed that was occasioned on innocent Kenyans as a Christmas party. This Honorable Speaker tells you that this is indeed a man with a very dark soul. Honorable Speaker, you may have a dark soul and believe in death and celebrate death, the death of innocent people, as if it is a Christmas party, as you say, and anticipate that even after the next elections, there will be more bloodshed, Honorable Speaker. And I said over the weekend, Honorable Speaker, when you harbor such thoughts, such dark thoughts, such black thoughts, such evil thoughts, you do not deserve to be a leader anywhere, Honorable Speaker. You do not deserve to be a leader anywhere. Honorable Speaker, this is somebody who now pontificates as if he's God. You heard him over the weekend telling artists who sought his help when he was holding high government office to sort out the issues that they have had with their copyright issues with the Skiza tunes. But he had no time for them. But now he wants to commandeer who they will sing to, what songs they will sing, when they will sing, and how they sing, Honorable Speaker. That unless they are singing songs of praise to him, they should not perform. Daring that even businesses, Honorable Speaker, owned by entrepreneurial, hard-working Kenyans, very good entrepreneurs who have established clubs, that now he's inciting Kenyans to storm those clubs and destroy them because an artist who he does not like is performing in that club, Honorable Speaker. This is a height of evil minds and evil thoughts by an evil man who sees nothing good in this country except that which satisfies his insatiable greed. Greed that even public coffers could not satisfy, Honorable Speaker. You have seen him admonish other leaders because of empowerment programs that are empowering the same people who we advance a bottom-up transformation, economic transformation agenda, Honorable Speaker, because they are being supported by leaders now who are utilizing resources in the right way. But, Honorable Speaker, when you're in high office and you use public resources to acquire private resources, Honorable Speaker, even stealing from your own family. Honorable Speaker, if you find somebody who can steal from a widow and orphans, Honorable Speaker, these are things that were tabled here during the impeachment process. How he forged the will of his late brother, a hardworking former governor of Nyeri, disinherited the widows and the orphans of the family, and used his high office to intimidate and threaten that family not to speak, Honorable Speaker. Thank God that this House rose to the occasion to save not just that family, but the country against the machinations of a very evil and dark soul, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'll take you back to the events of last year. Kenyans will remember on the 25th of June, after what happened, Honorable Speaker, the kind of incitement they saw from the same person, because he believes in bloodshed, that unless people die, he cannot achieve his mission, Honorable Speaker. Let us say, Honorable Speaker, from the floor of this House, no other Kenyan will die to satisfy the insatiable greed of a dark man with a dark soul and a very evil mind, Honorable Speaker. And no Kenyan should ever die for politics. I want to agree with Honorable Junet that when we said that never again, we should never ever again entertain the politics of bloodshed in this country. The last elections, Honorable Speaker, vindicated the Kenyan people, that the Kenyan people are a people who believe in one unitary nation, a nation that cannot be divided by the insatiable greed for power and material wealth of one man, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was saying Kenyans across the board voted for the Kenya Kwanza government. Many Kenyans voted for the Azimio coalition, irrespective of their ethnic background, Honorable Speaker. There are many Kikuyus that voted for Raila Odinga because they wanted a better Kenya. There are many Kikuyus, many Luos who voted for William Ruto because they believed he had an agenda for Kenya, Honorable Speaker. Yet now we see a man who wants to take this country back, not just to the politics of ethnic balkanization and ethnic mobilization, Honorable Speaker, but to the backward thoughts that is only through bloodshed and death that you can achieve what you want, Honorable Speaker. We must, in one accord as a House, not just condemn, but ask the government of the Republic of Kenya, and more so the Inspector General of Police. I know he hails from Madera also, but he must apply the law without fear or favor, Honorable Speaker. I saw in the news last night, Honorable Speaker, them saying that the lawyer has written to NCIC. NCIC did not summon a lawyer. They summoned a person who is not above the law, and the law must take its due course. And I want to encourage the NCIC Commission to get the help of the Inspector General of Police to enforce the law as it is. When you are summoned by NCIC, a constitutional commission, to answer to charges leveled against you, you must appear. And if you don't appear, Honorable Speaker, action must be taken. Otherwise, if we take that route, Honorable Speaker, what will stop anybody tomorrow from inciting Kenyans on the basis of ethnicity or whatever you like to kill and slaughter each other, Honorable Speaker, with abandon? The law must take its course, and nobody, Honorable Speaker, is above the law. And I want to repeat, nobody is above the law in this country, Honorable Speaker. Whether you are Junet Mohammed, whether you are Kemadi Ishongwa, or whoever you think you are, who the hell do you think you are that you can celebrate the death of Kenyans, calling it a Christmas party? Shame on you. Shame on you that you can describe such unfortunate incidents. And let me finish by telling you, 2027 elections, Kenyans now know you better. Kenyans now can see clearly why this House, with over 300 members, voted to impeach you. Close to 360 members voted to impeach, 84 members voted to impeach you. Because these members knew you were a danger, not just to the society and the nation of Kenya, but even a danger to yourself, a danger to your own family. Shame on you.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kumsupport ndugu yangu Muhammad Junet kwa kuweza kusema kuwa Kenya ni yetu sisi sote. Mheshimiwa Spika, inasikitisha kuwa Bwana Gachagua hajakubali kuwa hayuko kwenye mamlaka tena. Na mimi nataka nimwambie, ikiwa kitu kitatolewa kwa Wakenya wote, iwe ni injustice, lakini kikitolewa sehemu moja iwe ndio furaha yake, basi anakosea Wakenya. Nikikumbuka mwaka ambao aliutaja kuwa, na kwa nikimnukuu, alisema hii Kenya, ikiwa mtu mwingine yule ataingia katika uongozi, basi itakuwa ile 2007 2008 ili kutakuwa ni kama harusi ile itakaofanyika itakuwa balaa zaidi. Jamani, huyu ni mtu kweli? Huyu ni mtu kweli? Na mimi nataka nimwambie Gachagua, hii nchi si yako wewe peke yako. Usipotoshe wa Kenya. Ulikuwa katika serikali, ulikuwa ukituambia wewe ndio mlinzi wa mlango, ulikuwa ukituambia vitu vinavyofanyika viko sawa. Leo hii kwa utepetevu wako uko nje, kwa kunyang'anya mjane haki yake, kwa kunyang'anya mayatima haki zao, kwa kuweka ile siasa za shares, Wakenya wakasema toka nje. Leo unaanza siasa za kugonganisha Wakenya. Nakumbuka hapa na naona kama ameshikana na Ndindi Nyoro, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mimi nataka nimwambie, kuna siku hapa nililalamika kulikuwa na disaster, mambo ya floods kule Mombasa. Nikalia sana hapa, hatukupata pesa za disaster funds, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na hapa alionambia Zamzamu njoni kuonyesha, ilikuwa ni Ndindi Nyoro. Akanionyesha 14 billion ya World Bank ambayo ilikuwa ofisi ya Deputy President wa wakati ule Gachagua, akanambia ameziramba. Akanionyesha 6 billion ambayo ilikuwa katika budget, huyu Ndindi Nyoro ndo alionionyesha, akanambia Gachagua ameziramba. Leo yeye ndo anarudi huku nyuma, kwa sababu waambiwa nyani akikosa ndizi usema mgomba umeteleza. Mheshimiwa Spika, haiwezekani. Kama wao ni wenda wazimu, waache wale ambao wana akili zao waweze kuongoza Kenya. Leo tuko na Deputy President anafanya kazi, anazunguka huku na huku, tunaona anafanya maendeleo na Wakenya wanafurahi. Rais, sisi hapa tulikuwa tunampinga, na leo tumeaibika. Kwa sababu gani? Ile housing levy tulikuwa tunalia, leo tumeona Mkuru kwa Njenga, watu wameingia kwa majumba, wametoka kwenye slum. Mheshimiwa Spika, ilikuwa ni uchungu, kwa sababu hii Kenya ilikuwa uchumi umekuwa mbaya na kila mtu alikuwa anasikia uchungu wa uchumi. Lakini mimi leo nataka nimpongeze rais, kwa sababu alitufinya ndio, lakini sasa tunaona yule maskini tajiri wote wanatibiwa. Tunaona nyumba maskini tajiri wote wanakaa vizuri. Unga sasa umeshuka bei, mafuta yameshuka bei. Mheshimiwa Spika, rais anaipeleka Kenya vizuri, kwa sababu amepata ile timu ambayo pia ina nguvu, imemuongezea, na sasa yofanya kazi vizuri. Namwambia rais, usimwangalie yule mwendazimu ulomfukuza kule State House. Wewe angalia kazi yako, yule mwendazimu sisi tutadili naye. Na mimi namgoja Mombasa kule, na ananijua, hawezi kuja kutuchafua kule Mombasa. Hatuwezi kubali. Tunataka Kenya ambayo ina amani, tunataka Kenya ambayo itasonga mbele bila bugdha. Mheshimiwa Gachagua angalie, ajiite mkutano, ajiulize. Wajua yuko kama yule mtoto, Mheshimiwa Spika, ambaye wageni wakija unamficha kwa sababu ataharibu. Yule mpe mic tu kidogo, Mheshimiwa Gachagua ashaharibu kila kitu. Juzi ameenda kuchapa wale walikuwa na msupport ambao ni artist, leo amewachapa, kesho atafanya mengine na mengine. Kwa hiyo sisi tunasema rais, shika kasi, sisi tuko ndani ya broad based government na tutakusukuma mbele. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, anytime I listen to the former Deputy President speak, I can't help but wish that there was another way to have him brought back to this house to be impeached again, the second time or even that time, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, I do not know what one single individual, the kind of venom one single individual holds in his mind, Honorable Speaker. In 2007, that is being referred to by the Honorable Gachagua, Honorable Speaker, I was a university student, I was in the university, Honorable Speaker. But at the time that the skirmishes were happening, Honorable Speaker, I was in Molo as a rider, as a border rider, Honorable Speaker. And I remember, Honorable Speaker, being accosted by about 5 people, Honorable Speaker, who wanted me to speak in a certain language, Honorable Speaker, that I didn't understand. They took away my motorbike and I had to run, Honorable Speaker, for my life. I found myself, Honorable Speaker, in a petrol tanker that I didn't know then where it was going, only to find myself, Honorable Speaker, in Lunga Road, industrial area, Honorable Speaker. How can a person describe that, Honorable Speaker, as a Christmas party, Honorable Speaker? How can a person, and along the way, Honorable Speaker, as we were coming, as we were driving all the way from Molo, El Bago, Honorable Speaker, to the entire route, Honorable Speaker, we could see bodies of people splashed across, spread all over, Honorable Speaker. When a person stands, Honorable Speaker, and speaks in such kind of a language and says that, 2027, if this and this does not happen, and anytime the guy speaks, Honorable Speaker, his description is only about him. It's issues, it's about him. Honorable Speaker, I think it's about time that we advise him to see a psychiatrist, Honorable Speaker. He needs to see a doctor. He needs to do his mental check, Honorable Speaker. And I think doctors here should refer some very serious psychiatrists, Honorable Speaker, to see to him, Honorable Speaker. Because it's quite unfortunate that anything you speak is about your area. Anything you speak is about your village. Honorable Speaker, that is a disease I refer to villagitis. That when you wake up, the only place you'll have is one village. When you speak about one area. When you wake up, you speak, even the meetings hall is from one village, Honorable Speaker. How selfish can an individual be? That any person that does not subscribe to your line of thought is an enemy. Your particular line of thought, be it artists who are working hard for themselves, be it politicians who are, engaged in political associations across, those are your enemies. How selfish can one individual be? From your family, from your home, you are selfish. Where you take over everything that belongs to the late brother's family, Honorable Speaker, because taking advantage of the position that you had. Now, in the political scene, you are extremely selfish. That if you see artists visiting a deputy president, a sitting deputy president, a serving deputy president, Honorable Speaker, you take offense and go out there, complain about them, and rant about them. Honorable Speaker, it's about time we call out the NCIC, we call out the National Police Service, we call out the IG for selectively, for being selective on matters law, Honorable Speaker. Because it's about time Wamunyoro be arrested. The Honorable Gachagua should be behind bars for the statements that he made. If those statements, Honorable Speaker, were made in the previous regime, perhaps somebody would be running up and down, Honorable Speaker, with a battalion of lawyers. I think we are too tolerant. I believe even the independent bodies in the Constitution are becoming too tolerant, and they are going to affect this country. I mean, that you are being summoned by a body, a constitutional body, then you refer them through a lawyer, then and tell them, I can't attend, you are this and this. And then when you get arrested, you say it's political persecution. Regarding Gachagua, he should be a state guest, Honorable Speaker, latest this weekend. That is a state guest. He should be charged. He should be charged for incitement. He should be charged for, under the NCIC laws, Honorable Speaker. He should be charged, Honorable Speaker, he shouldn't be allowed to run up and down, Honorable Speaker, talking venom and spitting venom and calling everybody all kind of names, Honorable Speaker. These dramas, Honorable Speaker, must come to an end, especially now that we are heading to the election, Honorable Speaker. I beg to support Honorable Junet. Thank you very much.
Honorable Otiende Omolo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think if any Kenya doubted why we impeached the former deputy president, now they are clear that it was legitimate and proper. For the more he speaks, the more he acts, the more he invites actions for impeachment in any other circumstance. Madam Speaker, it is sad to refer to 2007 and to threaten that we could go back there. In 2007, we came to the brink of the precipice. We came to as great a disaster as we possibly could. And it took the backing down of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for us to continue as a state and as a nation. No one should refer to those events. And to do so is dangerous. It is because of 207 that we now have a constitution that prohibits that kind of conduct, that kind of speech. It is an express limitation to the speech. It is because of that that we even had Agenda 4 commissions. It is because of that that we created the NCIC. And it is because of that that we have ESCC, CAJ, Kenya National Human Rights Commission, and others. Madam Speaker, this is not just about politics. This is about our country. Madam Speaker, it is important to note that we, as a House of Parliament, impeach the deputy president. Some people do not remember that one of the grounds cited was failure to uphold the dictates of the office under Article 75(2)(c). Under 75(2)(c), once you are removed from office, then Article 75(3) comes automatically into play. And that is to say that you can no longer hold any other state or public office. We did not pronounce ourselves on that because at the time we were focusing on the question of impeachment. I think, Madam Speaker, now, what we should address ourselves to now on this matter brought by Honorable Junet is how do we now invoke Article 75(3) that now pronounces that the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua can no longer hold state or public office. That is when these things will reduce. And I invite you, Madam Speaker, that through the Speaker's communication, it might be important to guide this House, whether we can do so by way of a petition, or whether we do so by way of a special motion, or whether we do so by way of a special inquiry by the House as the House, so that we pronounce ourselves on that matter. This is important, Madam Speaker, because while the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua went to court and sought to stop these whole processes, the court did not find merit in that. And the court is desirous of going to the logical conclusion, including the declaration of unfitness to hold office. To preempt that, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has now withdrawn his petition. Two things. One, I want to urge this House, through its lawyers, to insist to the court to go to the merit of that matter. We want the court to declare whether Parliament was wrong or not, including fitness to hold office. But two, Madam Speaker, I think at the same time, I think we need to re-examine that very matter. I want to say, Madam Speaker, that the NCIC is a body that was established for these very purposes. I have served as a commissioner. I never saw a day when anybody dared the commission in defiance of a summons. I think that is the height of impunity. If we were to go there, then we will no longer have a country, because we are all capable of saying a lot of bad things. I want to urge the NCIC to come of age and do what it needs to do. I want to urge that the NCIC must be shown to bite. Just 1 minute, Madam Speaker. You know, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua cannot say that I will not attend because there are others who have uttered things that they've not been summoned. Anyone who says that things should be summoned. But in law, you cannot say that I am not guilty because Otiende Amolo is also guilty. No, guilt is personal. Accept your own guilt and then let the others be dealt with. Just the way you cannot confess on behalf of the others. I want to say lastly, Madam Speaker, that this matter is so serious that it should not be left at the level of a general discussion as we are doing it. It must be concretized, because we found Rigathi Gachagua unfit to hold office. It is not just the court that can do that. Even a House of Parliament can do that, with the consequence that you cannot hold any other public office. I so submit, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Nyamita.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to also support this motion by Honorable Junet. Madam Speaker, where I come from, particularly in my constituency, we have families that buried bodies without heads. Madam Speaker, in my region, there are families that buried heads without their bodies. And yet in the same region, Madam Speaker, there are families that are yet to account for their loved ones. There are people whose children were butchered as they watched in Naivasha. There are people who have not recovered from what happened in 2007. Some had lived in certain regions all their lives, gotten their children, established businesses, and had their life all going very well. But because of the post-election violence, Madam Speaker, of 2007, they have never known home, because even when they went back to their homes, they found they had no land, they had nowhere to settle. Madam Speaker, today we have IDPs who are yet even to be compensated. They have even petitioned this particular house that because of the actions that happened in 2007, they need to be compensated. That hasn't happened. Madam Speaker, in this country, different communities live in different parts of the country. And I actually dare say that the community where the former deputy president comes from, members of his community are all over the country, in different parts of this country. They have established businesses there. They have established families there. They are running their lives from those particular areas. That a leader like that can come and say that whatever happened in 2007, 2008 is like a Christmas party. To imagine that such a leader would want to be elected and that we are going to have many other Christmases with such an individual. I think in this particular house, Madam Speaker, we have never felt vindicated. We feel vindicated that the action we took to impeach the mistake of a deputy president that we had, we feel completely vindicated. Even if we were to rewind time, we would still do the same. Madam Speaker, as if that is not enough, subsequent statements from this very gentleman, like over the last weekend, he is now almost dictating the uniform, even the dress code of the people from his region. He is dictating who you are speaking to. He is going to dictate which church you are going to. He is going to dictate which car you are going to drive. He is going to dictate what food. Madam Speaker, I just want to tell Kenyans that no one should listen to Rigathi Gachagua. He is not only dangerous to this country, he is even dangerous to himself. In fact, part of the allegations when they were brought here to the assembly were issues to do with him having grabbed property from his family. We feel vindicated. I sympathize with the people that are, every other weekend behind this gentleman and saying that this is a leader we want for this country. I can tell you, the current president might have his own issues. And I dare say that the president that we have now will not solve all our problems, even if we gave him 15 years. But he's putting us on the right path to how our problems in this nation are actually going to be resolved. I want to condemn in the strongest terms, and I want to call upon the police every single day, including yesterday, when Rigathi Gachagua says that the president has set up a killer squad, it means he knows he should be called to record a statement. He is not above the law, Madam Speaker. He is not above the law. In fact, I want to ask the leadership of this House, through you, Madam Speaker, that we call the Inspector General of Police to explain to us why is it that one Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua has not recorded a statement and he continues to make insightful statements across this nation. I submit and I support.
The Honorable Hamed Abdisirat.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to join this debate by condemning the utterances of the former Deputy President. Madam Speaker, it's a known fact that the Deputy President was impeached after he violated the Constitution of this country. We thought we have stopped this, a reckless person, but unfortunately, he has become more dangerous. This House has found that he was unfit to hold any office. But now we're also seeing he's unfit to live with the public, and he needs to be behind bars. We have laws in this, unfortunately, our laws in this country is applied selectively. If a small person commits small crimes, they are brutally arrested and charged. But when a figure, a leader, let me say, a reckless leader breaks the laws of this country, they are not taken to account for their actions. And that's unfair. Small crimes can be forgiven. But when somebody who calls himself a leader tries to blow off this country, tries to ban our country, he must be stopped. And I am appealing to our security agencies to arrest this gentleman and take him to court. I know some guys are fearing that maybe his community or this and that will bring something. We don't care. Kenyans are 42 communities in this country. And the law should be, applied the way it is, fair and square. Mine is to implore you, this House and the government, to take action before we lose our country. We have history of having virus in this country in the 2027. And it's known that we almost lost our country. We lost lives. We lost businesses and properties. Somebody is daring us that he's going to take us there because he wants to lead us through violence. We will not accept that. Elections, there's democracy in this country. You can win an election using the right processes, but we will not allow bloodshed and anarchy to win an election. It's not acceptable, and it cannot be allowed. Finally, Madam Speaker, if we allow people to go away with, such heinous crimes, what are we going to, show our our youth? We are complaining about Gen Zs and others who are taking laws on their own hands. But when an old man is allowed to go away with such crimes, then we are the ones who are, taking this to them. Please, there is no other action other than arresting Rigathi Gachagua. He is unfit to hold any office, and he is even more unfit to stay with the public. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Rindikiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I join my colleagues in condemning the actions, utterances, and unqualified statement by one Rigathi Gachagua. Mr. Speaker, this country, courtesy of our citizens, gave Gachagua an opportunity to serve as the Deputy President of this country. For 2 years, Madam Speaker, Gachagua never outed anyone to support the government or to execute on behalf of the presidency and the people of Kenya any developmental activity. Mr. Speaker, what Gachagua is known for is only one, talking about Mulima. Talking about Mulima. That has been his speech for 2 years. Mr. Gachagua is known for amassing wealth for 2 years. He never spoke about the poor of this country. He never stood to prosecute matters relating to our children. He never took time to execute any matter to do with the mothers. He never took time to execute any matters to do with the whole members of this country. Mr. Speaker, now this man was impeached, and the only thing that he can do is continuously insult people. Mr. Speaker, Gachagua's history on the media is endorsing the president. Madam Speaker, Gachagua's statement on the media is endorsing members of parliament. Madam Speaker, Gachagua's statement is insulting the same mothers who gave birth to him. That whatever empowerment that we are doing, we are just spending money without taking consideration of his views. Madam Speaker, this man is so selfish that we know for the time that he was in government, his activities were only to purchase hotels, to purchase land, to purchase expensive things. That's what he has been doing. Now the tap has been closed. Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow him to turn this country into war just because it's okay. Madam Speaker.
Members, why are you raising your hands? Use your cards. Use your card. Continue, Honorable Indikiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No, the honour member is one of the followers, one of the battalion that is insulting Kenyans everywhere. Madam Speaker, today you notice that Mensah is known for organizing criminal activities. Madam Speaker, we know for sure this man is the one who organized the what is circulating in the media today, that one honorable member of parliament, Madam Speaker, has been hijacked, has been abducted. Yet he was with him an hour before that. Madam Speaker, he is known to run to hospital even when there was a matter of impeachment. Madam Speaker is the chief advisor of Honorable Koimboli. When Honorable Koimboli was insulting us, saying that we have been given money. Madam Speaker, we must insist this man at whatever cost. Madam Speaker, he is teaching Kenyan bad manners because he is a comfortable man. He is man who should not be encouraged in this country to continue doing what he is doing. Mr. Speaker, we have seen even he has some battalions in Meru. People who are given an opportunity to serve this country, who failed, who were impeached. Somehow they survived, but now they are teaming up together. People who have failed are the people that he is managing this country, his politics with. Mr. Speaker, we have seen with Mutuli, who is a failure. We have seen Litole, who is a failure. We have seen all other failures, who are the ones who are trying to manage this country. We will not accept this kind of politics in this land. Let Kenyans be given the freedom to operate, to manage business, to manage development, and we have no time for that kind of person. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I think as I listen to the discussions from my colleagues, we are discussing as if it's just bare facts. What we are discussing is crimes that have been committed by the former Deputy President. His crimes are offenses that are set out in the National Cohesion and Integration Commission Act. And we even have past history where people have made utterances that were assumed to have been wrong and they were not even guilty, yet they were arrested. So my issue here is, I'm also calling upon the chairperson of NCIC, Reverend Kobia. Reverend Kobia must act and not allow people to get over it. Because if we remember, prior to the 2022 elections, I remember 300 police officers were sent to Singishu County to arrest Honorable Oscar Sudi for making remarks that were not even hitting to the threshold of the National Commission and Integration Act. It was the same Reverend Kobia. We expect him to act. Similarly, we remember that Honorable Linturi again made some remarks, and he was picked at night. Yes, he mentioned that word in Wasingishu, and he was picked swiftly by the police and ferried to Nairobi at night for arrest. The same thing happened to Oscar Sudi. Why is it that the former Deputy President has not been arrested? In fact, this House must hold the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to account, because they cannot have double standards when it comes to deal with people. You need to read the National Cohesion and Integration Act. And therefore, that is what we must say. And we, again, speaking as Member of Parliament for Wasingishu County, which bore the brunt of the post-election violence, we cannot allow anyone to mention that again. We made peace. The pastors and the old men had a meeting in Korusoi. That matter was settled, and we promised ourselves that we shall never mention it again. So on behalf of the people of Wasingishu County, we are very offended by the remarks of the former Deputy President. Because, in fact, statements have been issued by members of Uasin Gishu County where they said, we are not going to allow you to take us there. So such a person is not a leader, he's a criminal, and we should be discussing how we should have him arrested and charged for those crimes, contrary to the NCIC Act. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is important for us as a country to accept the truth, reality, and live the talk. Honorable Speaker, democracy is a process. Democracy is not an event. Honorable Speaker, an election is not conducted on the day of the election. It is a process. Honorable Speaker, many of us were here in 1992 when there were clashes after elections. Many of us were here in 2007, 2008 when the clashes happened. Honorable Speaker, and all those times, Honorable Speaker, they arose because our members were dissatisfied with the process leading to the final outcome. Honorable Speaker, I will be reluctant to bash anybody who raises a red flag. Honorable Speaker, a forewarned is a foreprepared. It is very insensitive for anybody in this country to believe that anybody who raises anything that could make better the management of the next election becomes a point to bash left, right, and center. Honorable Speaker, the danger we make in this country is to kill the messenger, hoping the message will go away. It is important we must listen. Even if the devil is talking to us, Honorable Speaker, allow the Kenyans to listen. There are obviously grievances. In the last election 2022, the charade that was Cherera for, I don't know, this category, is a matter, Honorable Speaker, should never be allowed to repeat in a decent and democratic country like Kenya. Honorable Speaker, therefore, as we debate here today, as we waste very important hours of parliament, that could have debated more important things, more important matters, talking about somebody who is a political non-entity, as the guys on the other side are talking about.
Let's listen to the point of order by... Yes, Honorable.
Honorable Speaker, I've been listening to a very eloquent and seasoned speaker in this house, Honorable Oundo. Please relax. I'm a very senior person
Ngogoyo, it's not
and
your
I have
place
more
to do my
experience than
job.
you in this house. Please chill. And he has mentioned to Kenyans that even when the devil is talking to you, you need to allow your family, children, and people to listen to the devil. I want to actually ask Honorable Oundo to withdraw that, because the devil is never good for your family, Honorable, neither your siblings and Kenyans. And if the devil is trying to talk to us, we must rebuke it in the spirit and using the name of Jesus Christ, that the devil must be rebuked out. Honorable Speaker, may he apologize because he's a Christian.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to let me continue. I'll answer my in-law later as I conclude. Honorable Speaker, we must learn from history. Henry Kissinger said, a nation and its leaders that does not learn from history is in danger of spiraling into anarchy. Honorable Speaker, it will be unfair. It will be like putting an ostrich, hiding its head in the sand, believing that what happened in 2007, 2008 cannot happen in this country, Honorable Speaker. We are misleading ourselves. We are lying to ourselves. Let us not kill the message. Let's not kill the messenger, hoping the message will go away. Let's prepare for the next elections properly, adequately, and sufficiently to avoid any point anybody anywhere will feel that the election have not been held in a fair, transparent, and verifiable manner. The election, the appointment of managers of election, Kivuitu said he did not know who won the election. We went into war. If Baba Raila Amolo Odinga did not restrain in himself in 2022, when the Cherera said four said this was not an election properly done, we would have done into abyss. I beseech you, I beseech the country, please remember the message, regard the messenger. You have already killed the messenger. I'm so surprised that men are running helter-scared of one single man who has got no vote, who has nothing. Men, style up. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Nyikar is left. The Honorable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this particular motion by my minority leader, the Honorable Junet. And Honorable Speaker, even as I speak, I'm a very sad person. Because, Honorable Speaker, first of all, the former Deputy President needs to be sued for destroying the image of Christmas in the children of this country, equating the 2007 post-election violence to a Christmas party. Honorable Speaker, those of us who have family members that had their homes ruined in Kericho, they had to walk all the way to Nyamira. We had a family whose home was destroyed in Kisumu. They had to walk all the way back to Kisii because of what happened in 2007. Honorable Speaker, we have people, Kenyans who were in Naivasha, Kenyans who were in the Rift Valley, who lost their homes, some who got burned. Very serious things happened within that particular time. People are still suffering from the injuries, both emotionally and physically, that happened to them in 2007. So to hear the former Deputy President speaking about that it was that would have been just a Christmas party, he's already preempting to us as a country that we will go back to that kind of anarchy. Honorable Speaker, the children who were born in that year, 2007, are now turning 18 years old. You can imagine how that would feel to these children come the year 2027, and then we are told that we will, whatever happened before will be like a Christmas party. And Honorable Speaker, I'm just imagining that this same person was summoned to go and speak to the things that he said, and he refused. He is not listening to the rule of law. He does not plan to obey the rule of law. What kind of example is that kind of leader giving to our young people in this country? Honorable Speaker, the reason why we have the Supreme Court in place, the reason why we have allocation for anyone who is aggrieved by the elections, by the general election to go to the Supreme Court, is because we are a country of rule of law. Kenya has been a very fantastic example to the rest of the African countries and the rest of the world in how we manage our political process. So, Honorable Speaker, as I speak here, I just want to really support this motion because I cannot imagine in any way as a country, as the young people of this country, that we can be taken back to what happened in 2007. And anyone who supports that kind of utterances, Honorable Speaker, I'd just like to say to them, shame on you. I support.
The Honorable Murugara. Member for Tharaka.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to support this motion, which is highly merited as we debate this afternoon. The correct position is that 2007 and early 2008 were years that we would not wish to actually remember. For the first time, because some of us were senior enough that time, we were in tears as we watched.
Order, Honorable Jane Kihara. The other members who don't have cards have come to request that they be given an opportunity. And if you're told to wait.
Madam Speaker,
may proceed, yes.
We may proceed because we believe the subject of this discussion is not alone in this, and we've been told that there are some of us who are actually suffering mental issues, and this is a demonstration of such one case possibly when you just go out of the house yelling and trying to call things in a different direction when it is not possible. 2007, 2008, we were senior enough. We actually went into tears because of what was happening, simply because there were disputes regarding an election. It therefore gives us a very heavy heart to hear the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, calling that particular period as a Christmas season. And we should never, under any circumstance, ever have such words repeated in a country such as ours. And this is why we are saying nobody is above the law. The law must be called in, and if you commit a crime, you must be prosecuted, whether you are who or who. One such crime is when you go to actually make statements that are divisive, that are actually divisive to the people of Kenya. If you wish to make a cautionary statement, this is how you do it. And I hope he's listening, because he goes around bragging that people from a certain region, which he prefers to call Mlima, the Mount Kenya region, elected fools. I do not believe that any of us who comes from that region is a fool. And if we are fools, he's also one, because he was selected from that region. Madam Speaker, dividing the country, profiling the country is not good and cannot be encouraged at all. Mount Kenya is not inhabited by one community. It is inhabited by several communities. And we've always spoken of unity of that region as we emphasize unity of the entire country. So to isolate the rest of the communities, emphasize on one community, is actually to balkanize that community with a view to saying we will stand alone against the rest of the country. This is not encouraging, should be condemned in the strongest terms, and if law has been breached, we must have the culprits brought to book. We have always said this is how it's supposed to be done. You should listen to us. There is no problem with warning Kenyans that you should not rig elections. But we have always said, if you do so, we will meet you wherever the law provides we should be meeting. You will be dealt with in accordance with the law. There is nothing wrong with that. But to say that if you try to do this, we will bring turmoil, we will bring the country into war, it cannot be encouraged, because this is actually what caused the events of 2007, 2008. Therefore, as we move forward, and it has been demonstrated through the acts of His Excellency the President, that we would want to have a unitary country, a country that is united. And this is the message he is taking across the entire country. This is why he went on to craft the broad-based government. This is the reason why he is actually sending his deputy president across the country to bring the people together. We must therefore preach unity at all times, and we should never be seen at any one time to try, divide, balkanize, or profile the people of Kenya in their ethnic communities. I do support this, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Millie Odhiambo, member for Suba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to indicate at the onset that some of the issues that we are raising here for some people may sound like abstract ideas. I joined Parliament during or immediately after the post-election violence. Madam Speaker, I was part of a humanitarian committee for my party, ODM, that documented cases of post-election violence. Madam Speaker, I remember documenting cases of young girls in school uniform who had been shot by the police. I remember a woman who had the husband's head decapitated and had to carry the head to Kisumu. Madam Speaker, I remember people from Kisii who were displaced. Madam Speaker, I remember people who are from central Kenya but in the diaspora who were displaced. We went to a specific camp where people were all displaced, but they were in different camps. There was a camp that had predominantly the Kikuyus, and then there was a camp that had the Luos, Luyas, and the Kisis. They were all with the same problem, but for ethnic reasons, they had been balkanized. Madam Speaker, I know that the country is in a mood for politicking. And, you know, and the tragedy in Kenya is when we start politicking a day after elections. And for a stranger who would be visiting Kenya, you would actually think that the presidential elections are in 2 days' time. Madam Speaker, there's nothing wrong with that because Kenya is a fairly democratic country. But it is extremely unfortunate, Madam Speaker, if we can use language that would incite ethnic animosity and ethnic violence, that would create the kind of violence that we saw. Madam Speaker, the people who suffer in situations like that are women and children. Many women were raped and to date have not been compensated. Many children were killed. Madam Speaker, there's a young girl who has written a book which she gave to me, Madam Speaker. And in her book, she has documented that there were young children who were playing somewhere in the Rift Valley. And they were neighbors of all tribes. And her book is called Hop, Skip, and Jump. She was called Scholastica somebody. Madam Speaker, she documents how she changed from being an innocent child to looking at her neighbors from a tribal lens. She was raped, she underwent violation, and she lost her childhood. Madam Speaker, there are things we cannot afford to joke with or play with. Madam Speaker, I would want to encourage the Deputy President, former Deputy President, that I know is feeling very bitter at the way things stand around. Madam Speaker, he feels that he actually fought and brought this government into power. And I'm sure it can feel very bad when you feel that you brought the government into power, and now you are the one who is outside watching from view, Sasa. Madam Speaker, the way to go about it is not through bitterness and anger, because there's a point that leadership becomes beyond you. I know he's only served one term in Parliament, so he may not understand. And half a term as a Deputy President. But Speaker, there is always opportunities. Let him relax because he says he's a man of God, or at least he says his wife Dorcas is a woman of God. Let them appeal to God and use their godly words to bring unity to the country. There are things we don't joke about around with, Madam Speaker. There are things we don't politic around with. And one of them is the peace and security of this country. In terms of sharing and having views and going around and talking to people, that's all very well. Kenya is a democratic country. But let's not ever dream about what happened in 2008. I know it was not in this parliament, but some of us who are here went through post-traumatic stress disorder. And with those few remarks, I beg that we change our language.
Honorable Meli, member for Tinderet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to also support the motion that our country went through a lot of upheavals in 2007 is something that we all know. We saw over 1,000 people lost their lives, Madam Speaker. Thousands lost their properties across major cities in this country. The economic upheaval that came out of that election was as a result of anger, was a result of talks that actually incited communities against one another as a result of elections, purported elections stealing. Madam Speaker, I just want to say this, that as much as leaders, we want positions, as much as we want to have certain positions in society, we should always know that we do not get those positions at the expense of the peace and tranquility of our country. The late Vice President, Professor George Saitoti, did say that there is a time when a country is greater than ourselves. And I want all the leaders within, and I think the former Deputy President needs to know that. As said earlier on by the Deputy Party Whip, he must be a very bitter person. He must know that as much as we are bitter, as much as he's feeling sad, as much as he has been out of power, he should know that this country, called Kenya, will live beyond him. This country will outlive all of us. This country, we have a responsibility as current leaders to hand it over to the next generation. Madam Speaker, I just want to ask the National Cohesion, the CEO, that he needs to take action against individuals who have committed crimes that are actually inciting Kenyans against one another. A case in point, and I think this has been said, is when a number of members in this House, last Parliament, made utterances, and most of them were arrested, they were taken before courts, and they answered to their charges. This is not victimization. It is actually trying to bring order to this country, trying to tell leaders that they are supposed to talk responsibly. As much as you want positions in power, you know that you have a country to carry on. Our former deputy president knows very well that after serving 5, 10 years, for example, a leader will have to vacate office. The retired president is now in retirement, enjoying peace, enjoying tranquility. It is not proper for him to say that if he cannot get the position, then he has to ban the whole country, ban the people, bring the people down. It is quite immoral. It was wrong. It is illegal. 2, elections, Honorable Speaker, we have election disputes all over. We have the court system from all the way from the High Court to the Supreme Court. And we know very well that there are timelines to solve cases. The Right Honorable Prime Minister has lost several cases. And it's very honorable enough for him that he has not banned this country. And is one of the longest people to have run for elections in this country. And I want to advise members, and even our colleagues in the House, that the fact that we are actually admonishing wrong talks, trying to ask leaders to speak the right way, is not that we are against the individual. We are telling him his utterances are wrong. He is a Kenyan like any other. He's supposed to make sure that what he utters, what he says, and what he preaches, even the issue of assisting through the Arambe system for the women and for all that, all those things we do in our society, and it has really assisted our member society. So I rise to support, and I want to say that actually the actions of the Deputy President were not right. I support the motion. Thank you.
Former Deputy President.
Former Deputy President, thank you.
The Honorable Raso, member for Saku.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this special motion by Honorable Junet. We come from 42 different nationalities in this nation, the many and the few. Those who have never had privileges of holding, let alone senior offices like deputy president or presidents, but they have lived in this country in peace. In 1982, I was just commissioned into the army, and I was involved in putting out that coup of 1982. In 2007, I was a senior officer in the army. If the army was going to be divided, then this country would have gone to the dogs. I like how some of our colleagues are able to talk with a lot of gusto about don't kill the messenger or don't kill the devil. If you give the wrong message and devilish messages, then you must be killed. There's no looking away. There are 3 offenses. If one commits, these are serious offenses in any country: espionage, sabotage, terrorism. What we are hearing over our media, both social, print, and the open media and televisions actually is both espionage and sabotage. When somebody can say on an open media that Kenya was involved in Sudan conflict, and these are our neighbors, we are with them in IGAD, and also we are part of the Africa Union, it simply means that you are putting Kenya at crossroad, and also you are pitting Kenya against other states. Madam Speaker, I am a Muslim, I am not a Christian. But our Christian brothers and sisters must not allow that pulpit, the churches are houses of God. They are houses of worship. They should not be used to divide this country, and they should not be used as playground of vitriol and for anybody to badmouth other leaders. There are different avenues where we are able to raise our voices. But what is happening now is going to divide Kenya right across the middle and pitting us against each other. The Rwanda genocide was actually instigated by one small radio called Radio Millie Collins. Initially, when they were fanning out a lot of vitriol and hate speech and incitement, people were kind of celebrating because they were on that side. But as soon as killing happened, nobody knew who was going to be spared. I think Kenya is bigger than that. If anybody wants to change leadership in this country, every 5 years we go for elections. Let people wait for their time. On the presidency, at any one time, there's only one president in Kenya. We have had late President Kenyatta, Mwai Kibaki, Moi, and Uhuru Kenyatta. They served their time and they walked away. Anybody who believes that Ruto must go away, then they must remove them through an election. Not what was staged on 26th of June last year, which in itself was an attempted coup, and we tried to look away. With those I support, and I think this, we must call this to an end. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Igembe North. He has left. Okay. The Honorable Owen Bayer. I see you on the list.
Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion by the Honorable Junet Mohammed. Honorable Speaker, the events of 2007 are very fresh in my mind, Honorable Speaker. And when I hear somebody speak about them in such flowery language that it would be like a Christmas party, Honorable Speaker, that really pushes a chill down my spine. Because in 2007, when the post-election violence just started, I was in Mwatate, Honorable Speaker, and my family, my wife, and my 2 children, and one of them was just half a year old. Honorable Speaker, when now people started saying, kila mtu aende kwao, and I had to travel all the way from Mwatate to Voi to Kilifi. Getting transport to move from Mwatate was one of the most horrendous things that I have ever gone through with a six-month-old baby, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I remember we boarded a lorry that was carrying cabbages, and we were thrown at the back just to be protected so that we were not seen, because we were, at that particular time, we were Giriamas and we were in Taita. Look at that, Honorable Speaker, citing one community against the other. And we go to Voi. At Voi, we tried to get transport to get to Mombasa. Honorable Speaker, it was difficult. At that moment when we were there, a van that was selling newspapers, carrying Nation newspapers, came by and stopped. and they said, we will take you to Voi, give us 10,000 shillings. And Honorable Speaker, we didn't have the money. But one gentleman there said, "Uyu mwalimu namjua." I was a teacher then. And they bundled us, myself, my wife, our 3-year-old girl, and the 6-month baby. And we were bundled behind where the newspapers were. There was no oxygen, there was nothing. I remember my 3-year-old daughter actually passed out because we were being carried behind that van. And that van traversed, couldn't go through Mombasa because there were chaos in Mombasa. And we had to go through Mariakani, that route. There was no tarmac then. It was a rough road. And we went through Kaloleni until we go to Kilifi. Honorable Speaker, what I will never forget is when we got to a place called Mtondia in Kilifi. And that road had been barricaded because at that time, Mtondia was a place where very many Luos were staying. And the Giriamas that time were saying the Luos must go back home. Honorable Speaker, I watched death approach my family. People came with pangas, hitting that vehicle, saying, who is being carried inside here? They must get out. And we got out, Honorable Speaker, shaken, with a 6-month-old baby and a 3-year-old girl out there. Just one old man said, I know the father of this man. And that is how we were saved from death, Honorable Speaker. So when a leader stands up to remind us that if elections won't go this way or that way, Honorable Speaker, this 2007 will look at like a Christmas party. Honorable Speaker, when I hear someone say it would look like a Christmas party, I don't understand what kind of a mind that one is. And that is a person that calls himself a leader. Honorable Speaker, that person must remain condemned. Honorable Speaker, I seconded the motion of his impeachment when it came to this motion. But I think it is not enough, Honorable Speaker. I think Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua must be brought back to this House for another impeachment. Because the kind of things that he's talking about, the kind of things that he's inciting Kenyans against Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, we need to hold this country together. This country must remain united, and never again will one tribe be set against another. What Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua is doing is to try to set the tribes against one another, such that he sees himself as a leader of one section, one tribe in this country against the other Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, that can never happen. The Kikuyu people are good people. They're all over the country. We love them, we respect them, we marry them, they marry from us. And we have integrated. But you cannot sit, Honorable Speaker, and say, you know, I am the leader of these people, and therefore I cannot allow even a musician to visit. Next time, Honorable Speaker, he will tell the people in my constituency, the Kikuyus in my constituency, don't go and visit Owen Baya because he's Giriama and you're Kikuyu. So, Honorable Speaker, we can never get to that level, never. And we should not allow it to happen. Honorable Speaker, one Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua is out of order. And what he is doing is dangerous for this country, is dangerous in the fabric of this country, Honorable Speaker. And I want to ask NCIC to act. They have a law. They have powers. They need to come out of their cocoon and act. We cannot, if we allow one person to make those utterances, another person will also pick it up, another leader will also pick it up, it will become a chorus, and this country will go to the dogs. And I want to ask Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua, the man that I once hosted in my home for lunch, stop what you're doing. You're out of order and you must come out as a leader. And if you think this space is not enough for you, stay at home at Wamunyoro, take care of your children and your wife and your goats and cows, and leave this country to be led by those people that are capable of doing it. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I think the Speaker had given us up to what time? What? 5:30. Okay. So I guess we'll stop there. Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable Jeanette?
Madam Speaker, I want to, as having been the person who moved the motion, Madam Speaker, I want to seek your indulgence to thank members for their contribution. Madam Speaker, the contributions have been very, very huge. And Madam Speaker, the members have spoken on behalf of Kenyans as representatives of people, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, having said that, I want to also invite you to the Constitution under Article 73, Madam Speaker, which says 73.3, a person who has been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for a contravention of the provisions specified in Clause 2 is disqualified from holding any other state office, Madam Speaker. So we are going to take this matter forward. We are either going to bring a special motion to the House, or we are going to bring a petition to the House, Madam Speaker, in accordance with the Constitution, Article 73.2, to declare and to pass on the floor of this House that one, Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua cannot hold any other public office in the Republic of Kenya, maybe in Tanzania or Uganda or South Africa or Somalia. So, Madam Speaker, because even being a party leader, Madam Speaker, a party that intends to get money from the exchequer under the Political Parties Act, you become a state officer. Even that, he cannot be even a political party leader in this country for that village party that he has formed, the district commissioner's party. So, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to thank all members for their contribution, and this is the way to go. It is our responsibility to defend and uphold the Constitution. Madam Speaker, the first day we appeared in this House, the first thing we did was to take an oath of office, which said we must uphold and defend the Constitution. Defending Kenyans from anarchy, violence, disruption of their livelihoods is part and parcel of defending the Constitution. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and may God bless Kenya.
Okay, we go to the next order. I think we are resuming the Honorable Wango is. Okay. Honorable Wango, you still have 37 minutes. Yes, I don't know if you're done or do you want just to reply?
Next.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. I'm seeking for a point of order, understanding order number 35, that we have no quorum.
Okay, I direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
Correct.
This guy could not even raise 6 senators.
Let me call.